Welcome to Chapter 4.2, and this is day 4 of that section 2. And we're going to finish up by talking about blocking. And blocking is just another type of experimental design. And we use it when a population consists of groups of individuals that are similar within but different between. A stratified random sample gives a better estimate than a simple random sample. The same logic applies in experiments. So again, if we want to make sure that we've got representation from different groups, we'll want to block on those different groups. All right, so as we see in the picture down below here in the experimental design graphic, we're going to start off with our 10 volunteers. All right, those people are all probably similar within, but different between them. We've got people in those, of the 10 volunteers, we've got people that are smartphone users, and we've got people that are non-smartphone users. On a side note, I'm a little concerned about the small size here in order to satisfy replication, but that's just a little side note for now. So, really, once we do that, once we block on the different groups that we can separate the 10 volunteers into, really, then this part of the design is really just our comparative random design. So we're going to take those smartphone users, randomly assign them to one type of keyboard, randomly assign another group of them to a different type of keyboard and compare their typing speeds. We'll do the same thing down here for the non-smartphone users as well. And obviously at the end, then we'll compare the two groups. We'll combine the results and compare them. So really blocking, the only thing that's really different is this first step up here is just to take those volunteers and put them into their separate groups and to block them. Okay. A block is a group of experimental units that are known before the experiment to be similar. So like here we knew these 10 volunteers, there are people that use smartphones, and that's a similar group in some way. And we would expect some inherent bias that might affect the responses to our treatment. And that's why we separate those two. Or for that matter, we're also just looking to see maybe there's a difference between those two different types of groups. Okay. In a randomized block design, this is what we've got up above here, the random assignment of experimental units of treatments is carried out separately within each block. So again, that's called a randomized block design. Okay. We have another type of experimental design called a matched pairs design. Excuse me. And that's also used for comparing two treatments in an experiment. All right. The idea is to create blocks by matching pairs. We're going to match pairs of similar experimental units. And you can do that in two different ways. So, again, a matched pairs design is a randomized blocked experiment in which each block consists of a matching pair of similar experimental units. Chance is used to determine which unit in each pair gets each treatment. And sometimes a pair in a matched pairs design consists of a single unit that receives both treatments. Since the order of the treatments can influence the response, chance is used to determine which treatment is applied first for each unit. So, let's kind of talk about this. A matched pairs design, you might have a whole, just group of people, and then what you're going to do in a matched pairs design is what you're going to do is you're going to find a person in that group and then possibly look for another person that's got similar attributes in that same group. Put them into one group, put them into the other group for treatment. And kind of continue to do that throughout the experiment. Have somebody here and then maybe find somebody there that's similar to them in many different the different ways that we're looking for. Put one in one group, one in the other group. So we're trying to match. So the people that end up in this group are matched with the people pretty closely up within that group right here. Okay, so we don't necessarily know what those, like in a block design, we know ahead of time. Here, we're just looking to match people up. Now, what we also have down here is we can also do it on a single unit. Basically what that is you got a group of people, and then that one person is actually going to be put into both groups and get both treatments. So you send them through this path here, send them to that group, they get their treatment, we look at the results, give some time, and then have them come back and do the other route then as well too. So that is a matched pairs design, and then there's a random assignment of who goes this way first and who goes this way first. That's what they're talking about here, is chances used to determine which treatment is applied first for each unit. So you can do a matched pairs on an individual, or you can do a matched pairs on the group. Okay. And here's a summary of section 4.2. Again, know the difference between an observational study and an experiment. Okay. Here we don't interact. Here we do interact. Confounding. Again, remember lurking variables. That's kind of the key there. Experimental units, or subjects if they're humans. We already know about explanatory and response variables. Again, our X and our Y. And then different treatments. What are treatments in an experiment? Then we've got the four important parts of experimental design that we've got: comparison, random assignment, control, and replication. You should understand what a completely randomized design for an experiment is, what the placebo effect is, and of blinding and double blinding, what those vocabulary words are. Statistically significant, so in other words, the differences are so large it couldn't occur by chance. And then the purpose of blocking an experiment, again, to make sure that we do have representation from different groups. And that's where we have the randomized block design and experiment versus a matched pairs design. Again, a matched pairs, as we just described, can be done one of two ways: either matching the experimental unit up with a similar one in the group, or simply just doing both treatments on the same experimental unit. All right, well, we're done with section 4.2, and that would enable us to do the last assignment here in 4.2 on blocking, number 75, 77, 79, 81, and 85. All right, we got section 4.3 left to do for the chapter, and we'll see you then.